The first day of the Maryland Toy Expo had been a success. In the previous podcast episode, I arrived to the town of Timonium on Friday, June 13th, to explore the toy show during setup. While venturing between the two massive buildings filled with vendors, I had the opportunity to speak with Mark Ryan and Christian Kuhn, the duo behind the expo. They were both excited and ready to share the latest iteration of the show with collectors traveling into Timonium for the weekend. The Maryland Toy Expo is a single-day show held in two buildings on the Maryland State Fairgrounds. And over the past 7 years, it has transformed into one of the best East Coast collectible shows in the country. That Friday afternoon, I was fortunate to shop both buildings while the vendors set up their booths, in the hopes of finding some Star Wars treasures. And even though the buildings were only 60% set up by the end of the evening, the dealers there had some very special Star Wars pieces. One table had an assortment of droids carded figures for pretty fair prices, including the rarer Uncle Gundy. Another table had a showcase of carded figures covering Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, and the 1985 Power of the Force line. There were sealed Rancors and B-Wings, boxed 12-inch rarities like Boba Fett and IG-88, and a seemingly endless assortment of loose Kenner and Hasbro action figures. And by the end of the Friday setup, a friend picked up an extremely rare Irish 3-pack featuring Klaatu, FX7, and the torture droid 88. After leaving the Maryland State Fairgrounds for the day, I received a last-minute phone call to meet up with Clifton Boggs and his friend Aaron. The two hail from Ohio, and I couldn't pass up the chance to spend a few hours with my friend and fellow Ahsoka-holic, Clifton. We had dinner at Papa's Restaurant and Sports Bar, a few miles from the fairgrounds. The day turned out to be another memorable one in Maryland. And after getting a good night's sleep, I was ready for the main event, spending a full day surrounded by collectors and toys at the expo on Saturday. My friend Ryan, who goes by the name Humble Hoarder on eBay, was setting up for the first time at the show, and had offered me some space on his table to sell a few items I had decided to part with and no longer fit into my areas of focus. So my plan was to tour the buildings in the early hours of the morning and then to hang out with Ryan at his table. Ryan is a passionate collector and an immense Star Wars fan. We met at a toy show more than a decade ago, and his table has always served as a hangout for Star Wars collectors. And in a strange but amazing way, Ryan seems to carry a bit of those early days with him whenever he sets up at a show, because spending time at his table reminds me of the camaraderie of those first toy shows, the ones that kept me returning again and again to connect with other collectors. This is a kickoff of the summer toy show season in Timonium, Maryland. This is part 2 of a return to the June Maryland Toy Expo. This is the thrill of the hunt, the joy of collecting, and the magic of a toy show. And this is Star Wars, Prototypes and Production.
From Coruscant to Tatooine, and every planet in between, Star Wars, Prototypes and Production, with your host, David Quinn.
Vader.
It's a trap!
Yes, Master.
Whoa, we're gonna have company!
Have to stand and fight.
The more you tighten your grip, Tom, the more star systems will slip through your fingers.
I want to learn the ways of the Force and become a Jedi like my father.
The Force will be with you, always.
Okay, it's 5 o'clock, and I just woke up a few minutes ago. My goal is to head out and to be at the show by 6, maybe 6:20, that's okay. But I got a good sleep, I feel good. I'm excited for today. I can't wait to see what's going to happen. A very good morning to you. It is now 6:45 and I've just arrived. I'm walking through the parking lot again. This will probably be a regular occurrence for the rest of the day, but I'm walking through the parking lot heading toward the exhibition hall. So looking forward to it. No surprise, there's already a line, a gathering of people waiting outside to get in, which is wonderful. It's actually a beautiful day. It rained at some point during the night. It's still a little warm, but not bad. I'm hoping that the 4-H building is going to be pretty cool today. Okay, there's a whole group of people kind of walking up now, so I don't know if they're vendors that had just met up or if they're starting to get in line. But just a few quick thoughts before I go in, because I only have about an hour and 15 to look through it before the general admission opens. Some of the trends that I saw yesterday, I thought the prices were very fair. I saw a lot of Star Wars items, all different stuff, so everything from vintage to modern. Really good Kenner items. A lot more carded figures than you'd see at a show, which is wonderful. Some high-grade loose figures as well, too. The Black Series stuff, as I said yesterday, I think that's tending to be on the value side. But, so those are just some of the things that I noticed, some of the aspects of this show. And, my brain's still waking up, so I'm going to just go in and shop. All right, see you in a bit. Okay, I just made it through the first building, the exhibition hall. I'm heading over now to the 4-H building, where my buddy Ryan is set up. And I believe he just got here, so he's probably getting his vendor badge now. It's still quiet here, which is nice. There is a line outside of this building already, which is great. It doesn't open for another 45 minutes. But so far it's quiet in there. There's still a few tables where the vendors have not arrived yet. And that's to be expected. But still, it's great. I didn't see anything that I wanted to pick up today so far, at least from that building, but there's still an entire other building to check out. And at some point, I'd like to come back to the exhibition hall if I can. My goal is to go in between both buildings through the course of the day as well. And but it's actually got a little cooler, which is nice. One thing I've noticed is that there's a lot of vintage here. And for a while we were seeing a trend at toy shows in which modern items, and especially the really recent stuff, items that you'd find at Target and Walmart and online, were really taking over the booths. And that gets a little frustrating because if you're going to go to a show, you don't want to see that same stuff that you could have purchased yourself online or at Target and Walmart, if not for scalpers, but or resellers. But we're seeing, especially here, Toys for the Ages, ZoloCon, RetroCon. We're seeing quite a bit of vintage and really some high grade stuff, some really rare stuff, items that you don't normally see. So. How are you? Right. Good. You have a bracelet? Okay, good. Okay, it is 8 o'clock, and I'm hanging out with my buddy Ryan. Ryan is just finishing setting up. Ryan, what do you think so far?
Cool venue. Yeah, there's a line way out the door, out in the foggy mist. So excited for the day. First time down here in Maryland at this show.
And you had mentioned something about this show specifically, about the kindness of people.
Well, I've cut my teeth in a couple of more aggressive markets, and it's nice to see the laid-back atmosphere. So let's see how that vibe continues today.
We're looking at the line right now. It is all the way in the front of the building and all the way down the stairs as well too. And this is just one, so there's an entirely separate line for the other one as well too. So, and we have Captain Rex coming to us now.
Oh yeah,
Very cool. All right, they're coming in. Here we go. It's 8:15 and people are still coming in. The line is still going, which is amazing. It's nice because it's not heavily crowded, but there is movement. And this is just the early bird. The general admission opens at 9 o'clock, and I think that will start to bring in an even larger crush. And the fact that it's somewhat of a rainy, overcast day, I think will bring people here where they maybe can't go to the beach or can't go, traveling. So hopefully this works. But man, it is a great show so far. I've had so much fun just walking around. It's actually been one of the most relaxing shows that I've been to in a while. And I think it's just the people who set up here. I know Mark and Christian, they vet their vendors really well, and a lot of them are repeat vendors, so they know how to set up. They have beautiful displays, shelving, and corkboards, and ways to really set up and to draw people to their booths. So I'm just having fun, just hanging out in the middle of all of this, and can't wait to see what the day is like. So I just want to take you through a little bit of what Ryan brought with him. His table is really nice. So he has in the front of it a boxed Rancor monster. He has the boxed Jabba the Hutt playset, but it's the white box, which was believed to be either a Sears or JCPenney exclusive for a long time. And it turns out that it might have actually been secondhand created, which is interesting because it looks fantastic. Then he has a box Slave 1. He has one 12-inch Boba Fett, two 12-inch IG-88s, one that's complete with the bandolier, the bombs, and the two rifles, and the other one that has the bandolier and the bombs. In his heavy-duty case, he has a Red Bar R5, a Black Blaster Luke Stormtrooper, two DT Luke Skywalker figures, again with the double telescoping sabers, graded at a 70 each, and then one graded at an 80, so you rarely see three double telescoping Luke Skywalkers. He has a vinyl Cape Jawa graded at an 85, that's a big one. And then he has two A-Wing pilots, a Lumat, a Warrock, Barada, a Man-to-Man, Han Carbonite, and the light blue tri-logo Boba Fett. Pretty nice. And then moving back a little bit, he has some carded figures. So he has a Return of the Jedi Star Destroyer Commander. He has what I think is a 12A Jawa or 12B. And he's a good price on that too. He has $250 for that. The Imperial Dignitary Power of the Force, unpunched, no price stickers. I'm sorry, actually one price sticker. And it was reduced from $3.29 to $1.28. And then he has a 2-pack with a Weequay and a Gamorrean Guard. His Return of the Jedi, I'm going to say that is a 77B back, because it has the Anakin Skywalker offer as a sticker. It's the Princess Leia in combat poncho. Here's a clear bubble Rebel Commando, which I just saw, and I'm actually... I might buy that from him. That's pretty nice. I'm looking at it now. So it is a 65B. It has a little tear on the back, a little wear by the car, and a little crunching, but $65. It's hard to find a clear bubble Rebel Commando. And then on a hanger, he has another round of heavy hitters, a sealed clear bubble Tig from the Droids line, a Return of the Jedi Boba Fett. I think that is the 77A. He has the Power of the Force Luke Stormtrooper, carded and sealed and beautiful. Carded A-Wing pilot, carded EV-99, Luke in Endor poncho, another 2-pack with Bib Fortuna and Leia Bausch, the Lando General Power of the Force carded, Han Solo from Return of the Jedi, and then about 7 or 8 Pop Loos, Cloud Car pilot, a Chief Chirpa, and an ATA commander. And then He has two special pieces in the middle of his table. One is a complete set of the original first 79 figures, not counting the two Ewoks at the end, but he has two of the different R2-D2s and two of the different C-3POs in it. He has a boxed, boxed AT-AT or AT-AT, depending on when you were born, and then a display stand with the 12 figures, which is really nice. So his stuff is fantastic. I love looking at his table. He's got a great setup, and I can't wait to see what actually moves, because I think there are some hungry buyers. Interesting part too that I realized is, as busy as this is right now, and this is again the early bird, this is only one half of the show. So all of the people that are in the exhibition hall, and the exhibition hall is the bigger venue, I think, so there's a bigger line there. They're going to be making their way here as well too. So not only are we going to get the general admission at 9 o'clock from here, we're also eventually going to get the general admission from 9 o'clock from the other venue, as well as the early bird. So this is going to be a pretty busy day. That's why it takes so long, really, to shop the show, because there's so much to see. You're talking about 300 booths, and it's always interesting. Okay, so people started coming in between 8 and 8:30, and I have to tell you, it's 11:30 now, and the crowd hasn't stopped. It's been so busy. It was really hectic. I was hanging out with Ryan, and we just had a really good time so far. Haven't gotten a chance to walk around yet. I'm hoping to do so at some point, but it's just been nice. Again, it's so busy. I was really surprised. And you'll be happy to know that the 4-H building was actually colder, I think, than the exhibition hall. And I've heard from a number of people who have been to both that said that they came over to our table at different points, to different people, saying that last year the exhibition hall had better vendors, better items, and this year the 4-H building has the better vendors of the two, which is nice. So it certainly switches, but I'll tell you, I was thrilled with the content in both. I haven't found anything specifically for my collection yet, but I'm still looking, and I'm determined to find something at some point. So, but even if I don't, it's fine. Just being here is wonderful. So I'm heading back in. Okay, it's 12:30. I'm here with my buddy Matt Kraling, and we were talking about Andor. Matt, you came over. First of all, so before you tell me your Andor story, what did you pick up so far?
Let's see, we got a wall scaler, Batman, Kenner, a bunch of G.I. Joes from the D&E boys, and a couple of Kenner Aliens figures.
Okay, and you have a Star Wars book here as well?
Yep.
The Star Wars technical journal?
A couple of technical journals. I don't normally pick these up, but the reason I did this today, the Rebel Forces journal, is if you've all finished Andor, you know that Gorman is a huge deal in the Star Wars canon currently. And one of my things that I like to jargon about is old canon legends, they call it now, the old canon versus new. So Gorman, and I actually didn't know this, was in the original canon. I had to look it up as I started researching, like, have we heard that name before? Is it showing up in anything else?
Yeah.
And if you can search for YouTube out there, you'll actually see some people talk about Gorman, because I think it's mentioned in the first season, and people were speculating whether they were going to do more with it.
Okay.
So the Gorman Massacre, as we all know, spoilers, is Captain Tarkin at the time they were on that planet surveying for the Death Star materials, and the people wouldn't get out of the way.
When Grand Moff Tarkin was Captain Tarkin.
Yeah, when he was a captain at the time. So he decided to land his ship on the people and kill them all in that plaza. So that's why there's a monument in the plaza in the show. So this is carrying over. This exists both now in the legends and the canon. So what I wanted to know was, where did it come from? And what it turns out is, in the 1993 LucasArts X-Wing game, there is a mission about intercepting Imperial supplies going to Gorman to set up the new base. And it's actually, I believe it's one of the training missions. I'm going to look a bit more into that. I'm like, okay, so where else is this reference? So it's just like a side thing that it was mentioned. They actually put, to reach that deep into a game where it's an obscure mission, maybe there isn't even, remember X-Wing is a space-based game, so it's only going to be intercepting freighters. It's not going to be like you're on the ground or anything. So is it just a name they came up with? Is there more to it? Well, they took that back in the 90s and expanded on it and put it in the Rebel source book for the West End role-playing game. And what I wanted to know was, aside from, because I really want to get those books, by the way, I only own a couple of those West End ones. That's another thing I'm looking for. Where is it mentioned? So if you go to Wikipedia, and your mileage may vary on accuracy, but they're usually pretty good. But mentions for Gorman, I noticed here, so number 1 is the Rebel Alliance source book, and then the official strategy guide for X-Wing, of course, the X-Wing Collector CD-ROM. But it also says here, Technical Journal of the Rebel Forces. And I remember seeing these on the shelf when I was younger. These probably came out in the 90s, and they're based on the existing canon of the time. Okay. So I found the exact one today for like $1. I went to go look to see if I could get this on eBay a little while ago, and the price shot up because this is the thing that has Andor canon in it now, I believe. I think it's one of the reasons. They're also pretty cool, but it's just a magazine that Starlog put out in the 90s. So we're going to go look in here and see where it talks about Gorman.
Yeah, that's
how long it would take me. But yeah, that's the whole reason why I picked this up. I thought it was an interesting find for this week because looks like they got a lot of pages in here out of the technical journal that was published around the same time. But yeah, we'll have to look through and see if we can find it. But anyway, that's the reason why I bought this. I just wanted a cool little... I think Disney may be realizing that in some cases they're going to have to start going back to some of that canon that was established that was so good that we all loved from the 90s.
Yeah.
And some of us...
Well, it's also a way to tap that where it really hasn't been, because a lot of that is non-canonical to this point, and so to make it where it's been really heavily thought out by people who really cared about this stuff and had a full understanding of Star Wars. So
and this was back when it was in the hands of Lucasfilm, so they knew that Rebel, that West End Games thing was an officially licensed product, so it went through the old canon press for what is now Legends, but it's not perfect. Even back then, there were holes.
No, but it's something to work with now that Lucasfilm can take advantage of and put something, I think, more solid together.
Exactly.
How has the show been for you?
Excellent. This is a great show. A lot of good friends and familiar faces here, more so than I thought. I usually end up coming with some folks, but they're going to a show next week out in Western Pennsylvania, so I'm without my normal crew, but it's still been really good running into people like you and some of the other vendors here. The D&E boys are here. It's really nice to see them. Of course, Andy from Toys for the Ages.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everybody. So it's been great.
And we're going to be hanging out at Toys for the Ages again, too, which is great. So
I'm really looking forward to that one. God, that's probably coming up in what?
Like a month and a half?
Yeah.
Well, my friend, I wish you all the best on your collecting journey through here. Right. Are you going to go back to the other building as well? Okay. I think I'm going to take a walk at some point and check that out and see how it's doing. But it was pretty crowded before.
Yeah, it's been steady for these guys, and for the most part, I'm hearing that it's been pretty steady for business, so that's a good thing to keep these going.
Good.
You start to wonder with the economy and everything, is it, winding down, but I don't think so here. Not in this case.
I don't know if people are spending as much as they were, say, during the pandemic.
Yeah, I think prices are down a little bit. But it's still healthy.
Absolutely. And there's still an interest in collecting, which is nice.
Yes.
Okay, well, enjoy the rest of your search, and I'm going to be hanging out here for a while, and then I'm going to go check out the exhibition hall, too.
Cool.
It's 2:40. I'm here with Danny Katzel, DC area collector, and Danny, you have some stuff in your hand already. I know you just got here a little while ago. What'd you pick up?
These are Muppet and Pokemon stuffed animals that I got for an Ewok. There's an Ewok in here somewhere I bought from Andy Loney. And these are for my kids and for my wife, who's a Muppet collector. And we also got a whole bunch of Legos. And what else did we get? Pokemon cards. So we had here for like an hour. Been great so far. Now in the next booth and saw my friend here.
I have to tell you, from what I've heard, the vendors in this area in the 4-H building, a lot of people were saying that they like some of these even more so than the exhibition center. So you might find some good stuff.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
All right.
But,
I can't wait.
It's pretty densely packed. So, yeah, by all means, go shop and then come back and say hi.
I will. All right. Take care.
So I'm checking in again. I'm sitting at Ryan's table, and it's very relaxing. That's one of the nice things about this show. There's a lot going on. In fact, we actually just had, in the 4-H building, they had some sort of wrestling reenactment between two of the characters. That was kind of funny. I was telling Ryan, I see this shirtless guy who's angry and just storming down the aisle, charging at somebody and just yelling stuff, and I just thought it was just another day here in Maryland. I had no idea, but it was a coordinated wrestling event and pretty cool. But the shoppers here have seemed to be, really friendly. It's an interesting crowd because people they're mission minded. They're looking for certain things. I've noticed when I was here with Ryan, a woman came up and she was looking for coins, specific coins, Power of the Force coins, and at one point she said that I thought she said she had to check her list, and actually when she pulled out this container that had every coin that she owns, or almost every coin that she owns, in like this plastic container, and each one is, they're all marked and they're all arranged according to character, and she was a really serious collector. We met some other people today. We met this one guy who is collecting bagged figures now, and before this he said for the last 30 years he's been collecting carded figures, and he finished his carded run, and now he was going for some of the bagged figures, which again is great. I try to tell people too, not just to collect anything just to collect, but he became really interested in the bag stuff, and he just decided to pursue that, which is really nice. So we had a great conversation. I love talking Star Wars with people. But anyway, so we've been here so far. Again, I got here, I think, sometime a little before 7 o'clock. It's now 2:47. I have to tell you, the time goes by really fast. It's still busy, as you can probably hear. There are people going up and down each aisle. I think, this is the last 2 hours of the show, and this is where they've been to both buildings. They've gone maybe multiple times, and now they're honing in on the items that they want to bring home. And I think this crowd, we're seeing more, and we've seen this at a lot of shows, where it's people that are looking to buy items sort of in the $50 or $40 and under range. Specific ones that they need for their collection. They're out hunting for that, and they're sticking to a budget and looking for specific items. And they've been successful. A lot of them have been successful, which is nice. So that's just a glimpse of what's happening now at almost 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Saturday here at the Maryland Toy Expo. While the show was busy and people were buying, Ryan and I had few sales at his table. 99% of the items we brought were Star Wars. And that heavy focus on one franchise reduced the appeal of his booth to mostly Star Wars collectors. I had a handful of more expensive non-Star Wars items with me, and although we certainly had a non-stop flow of visitors at the table during the day, very few actually purchased anything. Around 3 o'clock, Ryan took a lap around the 4-H floor. As I sat at the table, I began to grow impatient with the lack of sales, and started to second-guess myself. Did I bring interesting items? Were my prices fair? I had very little experience with sales, but tried to price them under comparable eBay sales. Is there still an audience for Star Wars items? Maybe shoppers who visited the exhibition hall first spent their money in that building. I was just questioning all of it because Ryan's table has always been a popular one whenever he's set up at a toy show. But the questions stopped almost as quickly as they came. For I suddenly realized I had prayed about it the night before and that morning. And the day wasn't over yet. We still had 2 more hours. I was giving up too quickly without putting in that faith, that trust, that things were going to work out. And if I truly had faith, and if I had given my concerns and my hopes over to God, then I had to lean on Him and to embrace whatever was to happen. Look, I know you may not be a believer. I'm sharing this moment with you because this is part of the story of that weekend. And for me, it was probably the most important part, because it taught me a really strong lesson. Often, whether it's in collecting or in life in general, we lack patience. Or we ask for something, and then we forget to sit back and to wait for it to unfold. But once I remembered that prayer from the night before, a new sense of hope surged through me, and I immediately felt a peace about the day. I would either return home with what I brought, which meant it wasn't the right time to let go of those items, or I would part with some. And I had to be patient, and I had to be okay with how it played out, however it played out. Within a few minutes, Ryan came back. As he and I talked, a gentleman came up to the table. He pointed at 3 of my more expensive non-Star Wars figures, as well as a graded Emperor mailer that I brought. I told him my prices for each, and he purchased all 4 without hesitating. It was a massive sale, leaving Ryan and me completely shocked.
Okay, it's 3:20 and I'm sitting at Ryan's table, and I had brought some Star Wars items to sell. And Ryan had a portion of his table that he was letting me use, and the funds that I raised from this were going to go to a future bigger purchase. And I had some items that didn't fit in my collection any longer. Some of them weren't Star Wars items, and I didn't really have any sales during the day. Which was fine. I just got to sit and to hang out with Ryan and to talk, but and to meet a number of people, which was really nice, and to see some friends like Danny, like Clifton, and so that was really great. But then basically now it's around 3 o'clock, somebody came over and purchased a number of my items in one shot, and that's going to go a long way to this war chest that I'm building, and to hopefully future purchases. So it was just really kind of wonderful, kind of magical, and I'm very happy about that. It was an absolute blessing. So we have about an hour and a half left, but I can truly say that if nothing else sells, again, I didn't bring a ton of stuff, but just to move some items to start filling out that war chest a little more, and that magic continued, and it happened at the Maryland Toy Expo. So I'm very thankful for that. It's 3:30, and from being inside the 4-H building, I've had to wear a hooded sweatshirt because it's been so cold in there. We're under the air conditioning. I think they're making a smoothie. Or like a slushie. That's interesting. But so I've been so cold, but then stepping outside, there's no rain. The sun is out. It's hazy. Ryan had commented before that he thought that there might have been a wildfire or something because it does appear to be a little smoky and hazy. So that might be the case, but it is very sunny. It's very warm. It feels really nice. But it's amazing too because the show is still going on. Usually around this time, especially an hour before a show closes, generally you'll start to get emptier aisles and people have finished doing their shopping. but that's not the case this time, and it's not the case with this show. I was here in June and I was here in November of last year, and it was the same thing. Kind of a surprise to see it's still this busy. There are a lot of people who now they've gone through both buildings and they're making their final rounds and trying to lock in a few deals before they leave. And so we have about an hour and a half left. So I'm here with my table mate and good longtime buddy, Ryan, humble hoarder, and we've had a day, I would say.
Prototypes in production. What's up?
So we've been very fortunate because we've been under the air conditioning the entire time, and if you walk outside, it is humid and sweltering. So
Yes.
Yeah.
Down here in Maryland, wonderful venue.
Yeah, beautiful.
Boy,
Beautiful.
lots of vendors, lots of vintage.
And right now, so it's 4:48, and we've had people coming to Ryan's table up to this point the entire time.
Yeah, since 8 a.m. So, I mean, long day. That early buyer, I think, came in 8 to 10. And then there was a bigger wave of general admission at 10 o'clock. And it just stayed busy, right up till now, as far as busy as far as like attendees shopping the show. Not so much our table, but
I mean, there are still people around shopping.
Lots of bodies, yeah. Yep.
So that's good. So Ryan, how long is your trek home?
I'm almost 4 hours from here. And first time I was at this show, so I thought I'd give it a shot. And I don't regret coming down. You never know what's going to happen. It being so far away, I kind of scaled down the amount of items that I would maybe typically bring to a show that was closer to home.
Because you essentially left this morning, early this morning, right?
Hey, for curiosity, try logo?
1,000.
At that point, with less than 15 minutes left before the show closed to the public, a Star Wars collector inquired about a carded Tri-Logo Luke Stormtrooper I brought. We made a deal for it, and I was so thrilled to see it go to someone who would appreciate it, and was so excited to finally own one. I had purchased it sometime around 2013 from a Star Wars collector who had served in the US military overseas. The figure had traveled with him throughout his tours, and although it wasn't a flawless example, it had been nicely preserved. It no longer fit my focus, but the new owner needed it for his run. He showed Ryan and me photos of his collection room in his basement, which was expertly constructed. And his new Luke Stormtrooper would sit next to his Tri-Logo yak face, and I couldn't think of a better spot for it to land. The collector described it as its new forever home, and it was a perfect way to end the show. And to our pleasant surprise, another collector named Phil was also interested in making a last-minute Luke Stormtrooper purchase from Ryan as well.
Okay, so we're 4 minutes before the show officially closes. And Ryan, you were saying earlier that, a lot of times we get last-minute deals and stuff. And we both have Luke Stormtroopers, carded Luke Stormtroopers. We're waiting on yours.
We're waiting on a possible sale on one of them, and the one you had just sold. And so, that was kind of the theme here. Luke Stormy.
Yeah, I had the Tri-Logo, you had the Power of the Force, and a gentleman came over, wanted to buy the Tri-Logo, and then another gentleman came over and was looking to buy the Power of the Force and Luke Stormtrooper and Land of the General from you. And it turns out that I think the ATMs here are completely sold out, so he's driving about 10 minutes away to a bank to try to get the money to close the deal with.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Absolutely, I know. We got it. We have his number and everything, but that would be fantastic. That'd be a nice way to end this show. So pretty cool. Very cool. So I am standing here with father and son duo, Phil and Phil, and we just met, just became friends, which is great. Phil, where are you from?
Northern Virginia.
Oh, okay. So how long did it take you to get here?
Yeah, hour, 2 hours, but an hour and a half to 2 hours.
Was it worth it?
It is every time. Okay. Definitely today.
Oh, so you've been here before?
I have.
Okay. And then you picked up something at the very last minute. What did you pick up?
Somebody dropped off cupcakes, and there are 5 of them left. If somebody wants one, get your butt up here and get one.
Okay, so what did you pick up?
Two very nice original Power to Force Loop Stormtrooper and Lando General.
Okay. And have you ever had a Loop Stormtrooper before?
Never on the card, only loose. This one's on the card, sealed on the card.
And why did you pick this up? What does it mean to you, or why did it interest you?
One, I was able to get a good deal on the pair, and two, I've always wanted to have.
Sorry.
Okay, so why?
One was just a really good deal on the pair, and two, I've always had my eye out for one. I just have not had an opportunity to acquire it.
So would you say that this purchase, this last minute purchase, marks this Maryland Toy Expo as a pretty special one then for you?
Oh, sure, of course. No, this is one I've had my eye on. I've bought a lot of stuff at these shows, but I have not picked up this character, this figure.
And what's the next dream piece then you'd like to pick up and buy?
I need to replace an early bird set, so regrettably I had one. I let it go a long time ago, and I said regret I need to correct at some point.
That sounds like a goal for November's Maryland Toy Expo.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, well, Phil, it was a pleasure. Thank you so much for talking to me, and I look forward to seeing you come along on your collecting journey and what you pick up next.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, I just brought my stuff out to my car, and I have the second half to bring. Not very many, actually, just 4 little bins, but just while I have the chance, I just want to take a moment to say how thankful I am. This was such a special day. It was so nice to get to see people again, and to be at a show like this. It really sounds like everyone did very well and had a really good time, and I love hearing that. But just to get to talk to people and to meet total strangers who become friends, it's not as rare as it sounds like it is, but sometimes it's harder to make friends like that and to make friends that quickly. And for some reason, toy shows and collecting seems to be a catalyst. So I love it. And just hanging out with Ryan today was really special. So great time. It is now 5:30, so we are getting ready to leave. And just another wonderful time at the Maryland Toy Expo. So the trip is almost over. It's almost 9:30, and I'm arriving home in about 20 minutes. I had a great time. Truly loved being there. Please excuse my wipers because it is raining, so if you hear them, I apologize. It's just it's dark right now, and it's getting harder to see. But I had a really nice time, and one of the things that I was really looking forward to was to sit with friends and just to speak with them. And I felt like I really got a chance to do that. I didn't get to tour the buildings like I normally do. The last 2 times I was there, I just really went from building to building and spent hours doing that. And it was wonderful. And there were many friends that were set up or that were touring the exhibition hall and the 4-H building. So I was able to spend time with them. With this time, I spent more time at Ryan's booth, simply because I had items there, and I really, after going back and forth between the buildings yesterday and then this morning, I think I did for about an hour or so, hour and a half. I really just wanted to sit down and hang out with a friend, and that was great. And I was fortunate to have a number of friends who came along and were willing to hang out at the table for a while, and that's always a really nice experience. And so, as I mentioned before, Ryan and I ended the day on a really high note. We had some really great sales that, were completely unexpected, and were a true gift and a blessing. And honestly, something I had prayed about. So I was very happy about that. And I was happy for my friend as well, who had a very last-minute sale that turned out to be great, and he connected with another collector and made a friend. So it was just a wonderful trip, wonderful day overall. Yesterday was great. Just really nice to be back at Maryland again. I can't believe, I was thinking about this last night and this morning, I really can't believe that it's June already of 2025, and that a year has gone by since the first time I went out to Maryland and really just tried it. When I attended the Maryland Toy Show in 2024, it was one of those moments that I had wanted to go. I had talked to Mark and Christian for a while, and I know Mark, he kept inviting me, and I was able to go, and it was really a last-minute decision, and it turned out to be one of the best decisions, collecting-wise, of the year. Just because I truly had the best time. It's one of those shows that when I look back on it, it's almost blissful. Everything was perfect. I felt great. I was energized the whole day. I remember walking around to the different tables and the different aisles and just singing to myself at times, and that happens usually when I'm really relaxed, and it reminds me of and excited, and that's what would happen in 2012, 2013 when I first started going to toy shows, and I just remembered feeling that mix of being really feeling at home and feeling really excited, not knowing what I would see. So that turned out to be just a great time in June. It made me come back in November, and then I was thrilled to attend this one as well. And it was, in a lot of ways, a totally different experience, and I was looking forward to that. I didn't want it to be the same experience. When you go to a show over and over again, it can start to feel very familiar, and that's great. There are wonderful aspects about that, but also you want it to stand out. And I feel like this one really does stand out from the November show and from last June. So I didn't pick up anything. The only thing that I picked up, as I mentioned yesterday, was the book Lost Stars by Claudia Gray, which is a Star Wars novel that came highly recommended to me by numerous collectors over the past year or so. And I've wanted to delve into another Star Wars novel. I revisited Heir to the Empire, the 20th Anniversary Edition. If you haven't read that, it is Timothy Zahn's masterpiece for Star Wars. It's what got a lot of us back into Star Wars after the films ended in the 80s, in the early 80s, almost a decade later. And it's just, the nice part about it is in the liner notes on each page, he writes his thoughts, or he'll expand upon, he explains why he inserted certain quotes into the story, and a lot of times it was to connect this new trilogy and this new book to the original trilogy. But he has all these little mini stories and these little pieces of insight that he shares in the 20th anniversary edition of the book, and I thought that was fantastic. So anyway, I really wanted to read a new Star Wars novel, and I wanted to read one that was similar in praise and similar in the way it was put together. So that's my new reading mission for this week. And but again, as the show itself, I really would recommend that if you are within driving distance or even flying distance, that you would consider coming out to the Maryland Toy Expo. I'm not trying to promote it. I have no ties to it other than my friends who I've gotten to know through toy shows have put this together, and they've just done a phenomenal job. They've put a lot of time and work into it. They've grown it incrementally and organically over the past 7 years, and it's turned into something really special. They have a great area in the Maryland Fairgrounds. I think it's the Maryland State Fairgrounds, and in having 2 buildings as well too. I mean, it really, I don't know of another show like this that's not Kane County or Xenia that has more than 1 building, and it makes it really fun just to explore, and you really, it's almost like having a 2-day experience in 1 day. So but again, if you're looking for Star Wars stuff, or if you're looking just to even get out and to be among collectors, just to hunt, if you collect anything else other than Star Wars, again, for all of those reasons, I would say this show is really worth it. The vendors are really kind, really nice people to speak with and to spend time with, and the people that tour the show are very nice as well too, and it's a nice environment. I don't know if Ryan said this before when we were chatting, but I know he said it to me, that he said it was one of the more laid back and relaxed experiences he's had at a toy show. Setup was extremely easy, and with the interactions and with the way that everything worked, I mean, really, Christian and Mark have this show set to a T. They just do a fantastic job, and I know I've said that 100 times probably, but I really want to emphasize that because I think it's important. But all in all, it was a great experience. I can't wait to go back. The next one, I believe, is in November, and I'm looking forward to heading back down to Maryland as well for that. It was really nice to go out to dinner with Clifton and Aaron yesterday. Meeting Aaron for the first time was great. He's a great guy, great collector. He picked up some Thundar items today that he couldn't pass up, and I think it's Thundar the Barbarian. And then it was, a blessing again just to spend time with Clifton. He lives in Ohio, I live in New Jersey, so we don't get the chance to spend enough time together, but when we are in the same town, to have 2 hours or so as we did, maybe even longer, having that dinner was really, really wonderful. So anyway, a great trip. I should be home soon. It's still raining a little bit. Right now it's 61 degrees, which June 14th is not too bad. But it's been an overall nice day. If you're able to come out, I would say please do. It is worth the price of admission, and also if you can, get there early. Take part in the early bird, because it's well worth the price, and to have an extra hour to shop. I think it's an extra hour, but to have at least an extra hour to shop and to be able to tour these buildings, you truly never know what's going to turn up. And I know I got to see through Ryan's sales today, through interacting with some of the shoppers as well, and then talking to friends and strangers. A lot of people picked up some really interesting items, and ones that seem to have made their entire toy show trip, if not their entire year, and that's really special. And we saw that even with somebody like Phil, who we met at the end of the day, and had picked up the Luke Stormtrooper from Ryan, which was great. So all in all, just a wonderful, wonderful weekend, wonderful show. I hope to see you at the next Maryland Toy Expo.